You know, it's hard not to laugh at his statement where he tried to sound so serious and so convicted and so grave about never, ever politicizing or weaponizing these government agencies, when in fact, that is what they are doing currently and what they have been doing for years, even going all the way back to during President Trump's administration. I would tell Merrick Garland today, if you are serious about the words you have just delivered to the American people, why don't you start by investigating some of your own federal agencies, like the Department of Homeland Security and TSA, and ask them why, after one day, the very next day after I called out Kamala Harris for being a danger to our country, should she be elected as president, I got added to a secret domestic terrorist list. That's a good place to start. Why doesn't he start by going after people within his own FBI who, after FBI agent Steve Friend blew the whistle on how the FBI is essentially being used as the Democrats' police force, their personal partisan police force, he was attacked by the leadership of the FBI, doxing him, exposing his own private medical records, and so forth. And then obviously you talked about the examples with President Trump that are too many to cite, but that have been made very clear to the American people and those paying attention with any objectivity that this is lawfare. This is the kind of thing that happens in dictatorships and authoritarian governments, where those who are in power, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, are weaponizing and politicizing the Department of Justice and law enforcement agencies, both at the federal level and the state level, to take out their political opponent, the greatest threat to their power, in a way that has never been done before in our country's history. That's where he should start.
Yeah, Tulsi, I think the problem for the establishment, and this really crosses both parties, right? We saw Alberto Gonzales. A lot of people watching might not even remember who he is, but he was one of George W. Bush's attorneys general. He's a nice guy, nice fellow, but he came out and endorsed Harris like that was going to affect literally anyone's vote. But increasingly, those officials are just seen as one and the same. But they keep doing the same thing over and over again, I guess thinking there's going to be a different result. But in the end, the institutions that they claim to care so much about are just harmed.
Yeah, you know, the point that you just made about how this isn't about one party versus the other. It's about this permanent Washington establishment that cares more for their own power, the power of their government that they control, over the voices and the power of a free people living in a free society. And that's really where President Trump has exposed them for who they really are. This isn't about Democrats versus Republicans. It is a choice for voters in this election between freedom versus tyranny, between peace and war, economic prosperity and economic hardship. So we shouldn't be surprised when we see people like that former attorney general, people like Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and others go and jump on Kamala Harris's bandwagon, and for Kamala Harris to say, "I'm honored. Please come and join us."
God.
When not that long ago, these same Democrats were calling him a war criminal. It exposes them for who they really are. They don't care about the country or the Constitution or the people. It's about them and their power.
Now, Tulsi, former President Trump announced today on Truth Social that he will not do another debate against Kamala Harris. What is the thinking behind that decision?
I haven't gotten any kind of insider brief that I can share with you, but for me, if I had to guess, President Trump went into a debate where it was 3 versus 1. It was completely biased. It was the propaganda media that's in the pocket of Kamala Harris and the Democrat elite going up against Donald Trump. It is political theater that they want to use as a means to spread their propaganda. And why would he? Why would he walk into that again? I think if he were to do any kind of debate, it would have to be he would have to be guaranteed a completely neutral setting. But the thing is, none of these propaganda media who like to call themselves journalists when they're not, they can't be trusted. And ABC just proved that point. So I don't disagree with his decision. I can see why he doesn't want a redo of that ambush and attack.